one thing we've always said about the Mariners is that once their offense ever catches up to their talent of their pitching staff, look out, because that could be a really complete team. And, you know, the pitching hasn't been quite as sharp this year as we've seen the past couple years. However, they had a couple injuries, nothing serious, and they're starting to get healthy. Mm-hmm. And so will we see now the pitching meet up with this new offense, and will we see the Mariners become legitimate? One of the big reasons why this is happening, however, is because of the catcher for the Mariners, Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, as they call him up in Seattle. And he is just making history over and over again this season. He had made history before the All-Star break by breaking the amount of home runs by a catcher before the Midsummer Classic. And he continues to hit homers since the All-Star break. He does have 45 as of this morning, Nika. And I found this article here because Cal Raleigh is chasing some baseball history. He's also chasing some Seattle Mariners history from my childhood, and that is somewhat exciting. This is a Sports Illustrated article by Brady Farkas, and the headline reads, Cal Raleigh now only trails Hall of Famer Ken Griffey Jr. in Seattle Mariners history. And it continues, with 45 home runs this season, Raleigh could become the first M's player to win the American League MVP award since 2001. Really cool stuff. That was won by Ichiro Suzuki, by the way. And Ken Griffey Jr. himself also won the American League MVP award. So let's get into this article, Nika. It says, the Seattle Mariners open up a 3-game series against the Baltimore Orioles on Tuesday afternoon at Camden Yards, and they'll do it having won 9 of their last 10 games. Seattle is now 66-53, a season-high 13 games over 500, and they are just 1 game back of the Houston Astros in the American League West. Wow. We got some tight races out west, Nika. We got the Padres down to the Dodgers as of this writing by 1 game, and we also have the Mariners down to the Astros as of this writing by 1 game. So
fascinating.
Super hot races in both West divisions. All right. A major reason for the M's success has been the supernatural play of catcher Cal Raleigh, who is putting himself in position to potentially win the American League MVP award. And boy, I hope it is not potentially, but more on that in a second. With 45 home runs on the campaign, Raleigh leads baseball in the category. Yes, that's true. He is ahead of Shohei, ahead of Schwarber. He is the high man on the totem pole right now. And of course, that includes Aaron Judge. He's also paired himself with Ken Griffey Jr. in an elite team history, as noted by M's broadcaster Gary Hill Jr. There is only one Mariner who has hit more home runs in a season than Cal Raleigh. Truly amazing. And of course, if you see the list below, you'll see a lot of names ahead of Cal Raleigh there. But the fact of the matter is there's only one name ahead of Cal Raleigh, and that is the name, of course, of Ken Griffey Jr. 2 seasons of 56 home runs in back-to-back years, 97 and 98. 96 and 99, he did 49 and 48 respectively. We did a short video about this not too long ago about how he hit over 200 home runs in 4 straight seasons, and that's how you fast-track yourself to the Hall of Fame, folks. Anyways, you can see that the 1993 version of Ken Griffey Jr. hit 45 home runs, and Cal Raleigh has now tied him. And that is the 5th most in Seattle Mariners franchise history, Nika.
Wow.
So Cal Raleigh tying Ken Griffey Jr., at least for 5th in the all-time Mariners season home run list.
Well, the season, it's not over yet.
There is a long way to go, and 6 weeks or so to go. And
that's a lot of homers that you can make.
At the rate he's been clipping them, I think that this is definitely within a record-breaking territory. The article continues, anytime you have joined Griffey in the record books, you have done something right. Nicknamed the Kid, Griffey instantly helped revolutionize the M's franchise. He burst onto the scene in 1989, producing a 3.3 WAR season and hitting 16 homers in 127 games. From then on, he became one of the best players in baseball, making the All-Star team every year from 1990 to 1999 with Seattle. With the M's, he also won 10 Gold Glove Awards and 7 Silver Slugger Awards. Can
the catcher win a Gold Glove Award?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. He captured the American League MVP award in 1997 when he hit 56 home runs and drove in 147 runs, 147 RBIs. We haven't seen numbers like that in a while in the major leagues. He led the American League in home runs 4 times with the Mariners and had the highest slugging percentage, 646, in 1997. 646 slug. Think about that. Even if his on base was just 300, which we know most players are more towards 400, especially of Griffey caliber. That's like over 1,000 OPS for the whole season already almost. And then you tack on the fact that he was probably closer to 400. He was probably well over 1,000. The Mariners traded Griffey to the Cincinnati Reds after the 1999 season. Sad face. But returned to Seattle in 2009, all right, and played that season and part of 2010 before retiring. He hit 19 homers in those 2 seasons. All in all, Griffey is one of the greatest players to ever play the game, and he was inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 2016. He helped the Mariners make the playoffs in 1995 and 1997, and Seattle advanced to the ALCS in 1995. If Raleigh were to win the MVP, he would join Griffey and Ichiro as the only Mariners players to accomplish that feat. The M's and Orioles will play at 3:35 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesday. George Kirby will pitch against Dean Creamer. All right. Well, the Orioles game, whatever. Forget about all that. We're here to talk about Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, and the season that he's having. And obviously, not just mentioned in the same sentence as Griffey, but Ichiro as well. I mean, Ichiro's in the news because he just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. The Mariners just retired his number 51. And so he's been around. He's been in the news lately. And so Cal Raleigh doing historic things, it's really cool. He also happens to maintain a courtesy with Ken Griffey Jr. I wouldn't necessarily go as far to say that they're friends, but Ken Griffey Jr. lent him, his ear, and he's given him his phone number and access to him, and they speak on a basis. I don't know how regular.
Well, it's good that they acquainted with each other, and that's what matters. You get little pointers. It's more of like a mentor-mentee type of situation.
Oh, absolutely. The fact that the Mariners have still never won a World Series title. I remember watching the 95 team in my basement by myself because my family was asleep and, we didn't live on the Pacific Coast and it was a late game. And I was jumping up and down cheering, in the dark basement by myself quietly, but I remember jumping up and down and like whispering, yeah, they did. And you got to do that sometimes when you're a kid.
Sure.
But it was fun. And it's one of the reasons why I love baseball and I loved that team. And yet they didn't achieve the ultimate goal. They didn't hoist that trophy at the end. And that's what it's all about. Hard to believe that all this talent has played on those teams and yet they still have never hoisted the trophy. It's harder than it seems.
Baseball is hard.
Baseball is hard. This whole Cal Raleigh situation has me feeling like a Mariners kid again because, I want to see him do it. I'd love to see him get to 63 just because as a catcher, to be the one that breaks the record, it's so hard on your body.
So he needs 63 to break the record, or
the all-time American League record.
Okay,
that's to pass Judge's record.
Okay, so he needs at least less than 20 home runs in the next 6 weeks.
He needs about 3 a week if you want to break it down into some easy math. It's possible, but that's asking a lot. He does need 12 to pass Griffey. So that's a little bit more manageable probably because that's like 2 a week on average. And if he just has one hot streak where he hits like 3 or 4 in 4 games, he's already a fourth of the way there. Yeah. So
I would be very interested to see this happen.
Yeah, me too.
From a historical point of view because it is phenomenal to have it done like that as a catcher.
It's also interesting to me too because Griffey is not included in the steroid discussion from that era. And yet he did put up numbers comparable to some of those juicers. He never hit 60 in a year. He never did. Sammy Sosa did, Mark McGwire did, and of course Barry Bonds did. But Griffey never did. And he also broke his wrist and had injuries that sort of, I don't know if they stopped him or slowed him down. He still hit over 600 home runs in his career, but he could have probably hit 700 if he'd have been healthy 100% of his career. that's rare in and of itself these days. So don't want to play the woulda, coulda, shoulda game with Ken Griffey Jr. right now. But I really hope Cal Raleigh wins the MVP. You know, I know there's 6 weeks left in the season and a lot can happen, but I want to point out a few things. Like as good as Aaron Judge's batting averages and his overall numbers are, and I know his WAR is probably higher, I just have a hard time seeing how Cal Raleigh could not be the American League MVP right now. When you're a catcher, you know, you're a field general out there. You're a team leader as a catcher. Any catcher is a leader in some capacity, whether it's of pitchers or whether it's of the team. And Cal Raleigh is a team leader. You know, the Mariners paid him and extended him this offseason, and it looks like they might have gotten a bargain. And he's happy and they're happy. So, you know, it's a great deal for both sides. Anyways, I also want to point out that the Yankees could right now miss the playoffs. They are not looking like a very solid team in a lot of capacities. But most of all, they play sloppy team baseball. Sloppy team baseball. And not one Aaron Judge can fix that. I'm sorry. He's not even playing in the field right now because he's hurt. He's been injured. He's only DHing. Yeah. So that's another problem I have with it. Cal Raleigh's putting the equipment on day in and day out. And you nothing against injuries, but I'm sorry. If that guy is putting on the equipment day in and day out, he is the MVP. That's it. End of story.
Okay.
I just hope the baseball writers really don't screw him over with their bias. And you know, I've heard the arguments already being said like, oh, well, you know, they just don't stay up that late and they don't watch him play all the time. And it's like, that's on them. You know, they can rewatch any of these games early in the morning. Get up earlier. Get your ass out of bed.
Well,
watch it the next morning. Go to bed early. Fine.
You can also watch condensed games.
You can watch condensed games. You can literally watch all of Cal Raleigh's at bats if you want to.
Yes.
Just really fast.
This idea that they go to bed early and that's your job.
I don't buy it. There's
up.
Highlights, you know, like
exactly.
I know you don't see every nuance of the game, but like you can understand what he's doing and where it fits into the historical context of the game and why it's important. So I just think what he's doing is important. It's important for catchers. Catching is one of the hardest jobs out there. And, you know, it's not a position that's known for a lot of offensive production league-wide. I'm not saying there's not good hitting catchers. I'm just saying league-wide.